Hey, welcome to Fargin Iceholes. I am the oldest Fargin Icehole. This is my name is Denny, and as you can see right there, that's my name. And today, I kind of wanted to. I found a series of documentaries called Icons Unearthed on Amazon Prime, and I've been watching it. The first one I watched was Batman. Uh, and it was on Batman. It's a documentary, and it's pretty cool. A lot of things I didn't know when I was watching it. Like the first episode, just talks about Bob Kane, who came up with you know, the idea, or I should say the thing that makes Batman Batman. It says Bill Fingers. I didn't know that Bill Fingers kind of helped string along Bob Kane, and once they figured it out, he did all the other stuff, logos and everything. It was pretty awesome. And of course, this goes all the way up to Christopher Nolan, and that's it. It was done in 2024. I did not realize that until I watched it. I was like, wait a minute. So I look at, and this has been out for a while, but I thought I'd cover it. I enjoyed it a lot. A lot of things I didn't know. So it was pretty cool. Um, so the first episode just tells you how Batman became Batman. Um, I used to have, and I don't know if I still have them in a box somewhere. Um, the old 1930, I think it was 30s Batman, and he was not anything what you look now. I mean, he just wasn't. Um, the car, there was no Batmobile, there was no nothing. Um, but it's still cool for nostalgia. But what do you do? The second one starts off with when they started to film Batman in 1989, I guess it was. Um, and who was going to direct it, who was going to, and there's a lot of directors that were attached to this, um, that just kind of fell apart. Um, and then of course we get, um, who did Batman? Batman was, I don't know why I'm blanking. And I remember when this came out, when Batman was being uh, talked about. Of course, I didn't know that. It obviously information we didn't get back in the '80s that we get now. You had to watch like Entertainment Tonight or whatever. And so I remember everybody excited for Jack Nicholson. I mean, everybody that I knew, and that was the talk, right? Michael Keaton, everybody was kind of like, "What is he? Is he gonna make a good Batman, Bruce Wayne?" Uh, Not too sure. Um, and that was crazy, and it turned out awesome because Michael Keaton, he's the goat. And I forgot that Tim Burton, that was him, Tim Burton. Um, he did a great job. A little studio interference, of course, which always happens, and they kind of fuck movies up when they start putting their little grubby little hands in it. But you know, it's crazy. And then I didn't know that Kim Basinger was brought in later because they had someone else that was playing, and I can't remember. Let's see who left. It was she got hurt in the horse, and I don't know why I can't remember this, but Yeah, Sean Young. So Sean Young's in this quite a bit. There's directors and there's producers and um, a lot of makeup artists and whatnot. They give interviews and whatnot, and that was pretty. It's pretty cool because, like I said, there's a lot of things I didn't know. Like I didn't know that Sean Young was scheduled to play Vicky Vale until she hurt herself. There was a horse accident. It was going to be in the movie. Um, that her and Bruce Wayne were going to be riding on horses, and she's not a horse person. She don't like horses. She's scared of them. But they put her on anyway, and of course, what happens? She gets hurt. Um, they were practicing at the stables in London because they all went there, and then um, she ended up fracturing. Um, what did she do? It says necessitate a sudden reaction, recasting. Um, the cameras hadn't rolled yet, I guess, and so they brought in Kim Basinger, um, and so which is fine. She's good in this movie. I guess she is a little. I'm not gonna say it. Anyway, she's hard to work with, from what I hear. Um, but she's a good actress anyway. Whatever. And then it kind of rolls into after 89 came out, Batman 89, obviously it was big hit. I can't remember if I went to the movies to see this. I'm pretty sure I did. Um, so when they gave Tim Burton the green light for number 2, they gave him pretty much free reign. They said you make your Batman movie. So he made Batman Returns. Um, it was a lot darker. It was a lot of visuals as far as like Catwoman in a tight skin, wearing a whip, and it's just one of them things that pretty cool to see. Because Michelle Pfeiffer was also scheduled maybe to play Vicky Vale, but at the time, what you didn't know is that her and Michael Keaton got together a little bit not too long before that. But Keaton was trying to get his, work it out with his wife and stuff. So he said no, didn't want Kim in there. But of course, she got Catwoman, the next one. And by then it was fine because whatever happened between Michael Keaton and his wife was settled. And I don't know. I didn't get into all that because I don't care. But Danny DeVito, of course, playing the Penguin. Um, everybody said that was their first thought was Danny DeVito, and he did. He I think they all did an excellent job as far as their characters. Um, Very good. I always thought that was good. Unfortunately, there was a lot of backlash because I remember that too about McDonald's and Happy Meals and kids being scared and this and that. And I just always thought that was, eh. You look at it now and you're like, yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, so of course that got kind of, now it's revered, but back then there were people freaking out because Batman's so dumb. And people don't understand that Batman is a dark character. Everything in Gotham is dark. It's not a fun place to be. I mean, come on. We've all seen the movies. We all seen the cartoons. We have all seen everything. So, Tim Burton was not asked to come back. He decided not to do it. He didn't want to do another one, of course. he went on to do other amazing things. Um, and it tells you about what Tim Burton was doing before Batman and after Batman. It was cool. And then, so, uh, in like episode 4, they talk about how they bring in a new director, a guy named Joel Schumacher. You guys know he's done all kinds of movies, and he did Batman Forever, and he thought that um, Michael Keaton would be back, but he didn't decide. He decided not to come back. I mean, he didn't like the Batmobile. He didn't like being in the suit. Um, Everybody that talks about it says you can't move in the suit, so it's not a fun experience, I guess you'd say. Um, so in the 4th episode, they bring in Joel Schumacher, who that they wanted it colorful, they wanted it bright, they wanted it, and that's what he did. Because if you watch Batman Forever, it's very colorful, and Robin is finally introduced because he's in the first movie they were trying to introduce him, but they couldn't. There's too many characters, so um, I would say, yeah, it was awesome watching this. I didn't know, with Joel Schumacher, when they changed. Obviously, they changed the Batmobile so it would turn, because it couldn't turn in the first 2 movies. Um, and they made it so it turned, put a little fin up in the back, change it up, and then they decided to put nipples on the bat suit. Yeah, I don't understand that, but anyway, I think that was the big. Remember the big laughing joke at the time, especially when George Clooney came in and it was full nipples. But um, so Batman Forever does well. Um, you get Jim Carrey. You get um, who's all in that movie? Of course, my Val Kilmer as Batman. You got Tommy Lee Jones. You got Nicole Kidman, Chris O'Donnell, um, and they bring him in, and that movie does very well. It does better than the other two. So they're just like the movie company um, at the time was, because it's Warner Brothers, was very. Tim Burton did produce this film. He didn't write it, but or do anything. But it made 336 million at the box office, and with a budget of 100 million, that's pretty good profit. Um, but again, I think there was issues on the set. Val, obviously, also hard person to work with, from what people say. Um, and he did, from what they're talking about in the documentary, he was very good at the beginning, but then, of course, it started to get kind of dicey towards the end. He was just not having it. He didn't like it. Um, there was, even before Val Kilmer signed on, William Baldwin was considered, Ethan Hawke was considered, um, but eventually Val Kilmer got the job. Um, no, of course, they were talking, and I know this. I guess it, it it doesn't surprise me that Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey, kind of butted heads a little bit. Um, They both wanted screen time. They both, it's who's overacting, who's not. Obviously, Jim Carrey can carry this movie. He didn't. Tommy Lee Jones didn't even have to be in this movie, and Jim Carrey would have carried it. But same time, Tommy Lee Jones did a good job as Two Face. I thought. Um, I know before there was who Carl Weathers, I believe, was scheduled to play. He's in the first two um, as Harvey Dent, and he was hoping to play Two Face. That's what he wanted to do. Of course, they got rid. Once Joel Schumacher got in there, got rid of everybody, pretty much. So, you know, there was that. Um, Robin comes in the picture. They didn't want. Obviously, Robin is a kid in the comics and everything, and they didn't think in the movies that Robin should be that young, fighting crime and this and that. Just they didn't think it looked good. Um, so they hired Chris O'Donnell, who's in his 20s, so, and there you go. There you have Robin, which was fine. I didn't have a problem with that at the time, if I remember. I still didn't know if I wanted Robin in the movies because when Joel came in, it kind of started to look a little campy, kind of like the 60s TV show, which, it's horrible. Horrible. Um, and then they did Batman and Robin. We all know about Batman and Robin. Um, George Clooney. Who else is in there? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chris O'Donnell, of course. Uma Thurman comes in and plays Poison Ivy. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. Alicia Silverstone comes in and plays Batgirl. I think that was a wrong move. Not to have Alicia Silverstone in it. Just don't have. You didn't need Batgirl in it. Michael Koff. I don't know. Pat Hingle, Elmer Pearson. I don't know what they played. Um, I know. I know. Bane was in there. I don't know who played Bane. And although he looked like Bane, he didn't act like Bane. Because if anybody knows anything about Bane, Bane is a pretty formidable Batman opponent. He he goes in and you know I don't want to give any spoilers, but he in the comics he breaks Batman's back. Um, that was pretty, you know, uh, at that time. I remember when that was in the comics. That was a big deal. So, but this movie, eugh, even though it had a budget of 125 million to 160 million, they don't. I guess we'll say 160, and the box office made 238 million. Um, it did okay, but still, that movie. I didn't go see this movie um, until later on when it came on home video or something like that. Price rented at Blockbuster or something. But um, yeah, so that was a disaster. So after that, they spent 10 years to get another Batman made, and they in the last episode or in second to last, that's when they bring in Christopher Nolan, and he does, everything's shut tight. um he doesn't let nobody see anything, hear anything, do anything. Um, but he made Batman Begins, and and they talk about how it was just nobody was sure how this was going to go. You know, Christian Bale is Batman and Bruce Wayne. I'm sure that was a I don't want to say oversight, but that was a bold move because nobody knew who Christian Bale was at that time, unless you watch a few other movies. You knew American Psycho, and you're like, American Psycho, that guy from there, he's gonna play freaking, you know, he can play Batman, he's gonna play Bruce Wayne, and yeah, and then they brought in Michael Caine as Alfred. They brought in Liam Nielsen, you know. Um, I can't remember what character he played. I can't remember his name. Katie Holmes was in there. Gary Oldman came in to play Lieutenant Gordon, who eventually becomes, you know, Cillian Murphy, who's the Scarecrow. Um, Morgan Freeman. So it's awesome. I mean, Batman. That's who it is. Ra Al Ghul is I forgot he was playing that, and it was a different take, and it was dark for sure, which is the way it should be. And I didn't go see this at theaters. Totally like I don't I didn't see it until after it came on video. A friend of mine let me borrow it, and I watched it, and I was like, wow, because I honestly I didn't want to see another Batman and Robin. I was, it's kind of done, and I checked out, and as far as movies goes, I always loved uh, DC animation. I think they do best, um, and they do so good. And so, so Batman Begins comes out, does very well, and then they talk about how um, Katie Holmes decides not to come back for the second movie because she wanted to do other things in her career. I was told because I remember because they kept saying it was too dark, and whatnot. But here or there, they didn't mention any of that. But so by the time The Dark Knight comes out, I mean, come on, let's face it, Dark Knight is probably one of the best films there is as far as Batman goes. And Heath Ledger, you know definitely left his mark on this movie and on the Joker itself. um he will always be known as the Joker, probably the best, because come on, let's face it, that performance was amazing, and it's eerie and whatnot, and it's sad that he passed away before he could see what it was on the big screen, because it was just amazing. And there's a lot of improvising that he did, um, that made it into the film, which I was surprised, and it was awesome. I mean, come on, he won best. What did he win? He won. It's like best supporting actor or something, and let's see, I don't know, but it was cool. And then they spent some time talking about the Batmobile, um, how they got that, what they decided to do. They had to build that from scratch, and they did. Um, that obviously, when you're in it, you can hardly see. It's not comfortable at all, but it drives, and it drives well. Um, in the Dark Knight, they added the bike in the front, and there was only one stuntman who could ride this bike, and it the bike is freaking awesome. I mean, come on, let's face it, it's a pretty badass bike. They go over the truck flipping, right? Um, and how they did that, and how hard it was to get it to do that, because it's an 18-wheel truck, and there's a lot of things that can happen, and that they want to do it in Chicago, and that's a tough one too, because you got people, a lot of people. So um, they did do a so by the time Dark Knight Rises, he passes away. They have to change the script a little bit because he was going to be in the third one, and they put in Bane. Now this is a total different look for Bane, total different everything, because they wanted to make it real, look real. So obviously they have Bane. When nobody could understand him because they put the mask on his mouth, and then they had to go in back and dub. Uh, but that's the thing too, right? And everybody goes like this. Oh, Mr. And everybody does that. Um, and I remember I went to the theater to see this. It was triple. I got to see the first, second, and then the third all in one day. Did one of those. It was awesome. It was a long day. It was a good flick. I remember they used the Pittsburgh Steelers were in there as far as like the stadium and the players and stuff. I remember that. And I remember when the leak came for the Bat Pod, I think it was what they call it, you know, and I remember seeing that online. And that was in 07, 08, I think. So, yeah. So, what I take from this is the last one. So, obviously, now, 2026, they come out with the Penguin, they come out with the Batman. Um, they're always trying to do a Catwoman. They tried to do a Batwoman. That didn't work. That got canned. So I kind of wish they would add on to this. That'd be nice. But hey, it's good. So I do recommend watching this. It's on Prime. You can see it all the time. They got all kinds of them. They got Spider-Man. They have Marvel. They have Lord of the Rings, which I'm watching now, which I'll do another one on this. And Spider-Man as well. And I know these are older, but I just found them and I thought they were just amazing. Things I didn't know. There's a lot of stuff in there I did not know. You know, how they come up with the suits and how they come up with everything. And it's a good series. It's only 6 episodes, so it's not like but they're almost an hour long. So 45 minutes long, we'll say. Each episode for this Batman. So go check it out. It's on Prime. Let's see if I can pull it up so you guys get a pretty good look at it. So this is how it flows. Go check it out. It's Batman. I mean, come on. What do you say? Won't hurt you. On that note, I'm gonna take off. And enjoy. And go check it out.